Welcome, everybody. We are here again, as usual, every week in this weekly meeting we have where I present a topic and I invite you to discuss it with me or maybe ask more questions. So, today we're talking about fear of failure because this month, January, it's a month that we're talking about fear of failure. And it's the month where in the Anti-Loneliness Academy we are following a 10-day challenge on how to beat fear of failure. Why we're talking so much about fear of failure, what's so special about it? Well, fear of failure, it's not that it makes us feel scared, it's because it makes us give up. That's why it's important to talk about it. We give up or we overthink before we make a step or before we make a question, a decision. We procrastinate, we overanalyze, we get paralyzed because of all this overthinking. So that's why we're talking about it so much. Not because we're scared. There's nothing wrong about being scared. Actually, it's good sometimes to feel scared. We have survived through millennia because of feeling scared. But what's more important is the fact that we get paralyzed, we get stuck, we don't move on, and we don't follow our dreams, our passions, our brilliant ideas. That's why we're talking about fear of failure. So today, what I wanted to discuss with you is the connection, the relation between fear of failure and trauma. And when we're talking about trauma, we're talking about old wounds, past stories, maybe some emotional traumatic experiences that we have experienced. And I will give you an example. Maybe in the past, and I'm not talking necessarily about childhood, maybe in the past, during your adulthood, you started your own business and it didn't go well. And you had to make some tough decisions, and maybe it went bankrupt, for example. And since then, you don't want to try once again. You don't want to fail again, or you don't want to face the possibility of failure again. So, have you experienced something like that? Let me know in the comments whether some people have already been there, whether you have felt like this intimidation just because there was an old story that didn't go well. It was not a success story, but still it's haunting you. Still you're feeling scared to repeat that step again, to go towards that direction. You don't want to get out of your comfort zone. You want to stay there even though you know it has been too long that you stay in your comfort zone. So that can be one case. If we have been through the similar experience in the past, this painful experience in the past, and we avoid it as much as we can. Another one is, and now I'm going to take you actually to the childhood, is if we have been bullied. And I would give you a very simple example. Like you're in the classroom and you raise your hand, and every time you say something, the whole classroom laughs at you or bullies you or intimidates you, and nobody's there to stop it. Actually, not even the teacher says anything about that. So if this happens once, maybe that's not traumatic. But if you have been subdued to these experiences for too long, then maybe that's the reason why you think that I'm afraid to put myself out there. I'm afraid to say my opinion, to speak up, to share what I think. I'm afraid to go after my ideas. This is too much. What actually you're afraid of is that what if I get humiliated again? What if people laugh at me again? What if they humiliate me, but then they also don't want to be with me? So you're also afraid of loneliness, not only or afraid of embarrassment of humiliation. You're also afraid of loneliness. So what if all these things happen, all these terrible things happen? And why would I risk something like that? Why would I go there? So it's preferable if I stay safe. I don't put myself on the spotlight. I don't share too much of my opinion, my dreams, my ideas, and maybe just follow other people that have been there first and people that they prefer somebody next to them rather than me leading them. So, bullying can be one reason why we're so afraid of failure. And let me know if you have been experiencing something like that. Have you seen the connection between bullying and low self confidence, or maybe imposter syndrome, or being afraid of making mistakes or putting yourself out there? And last but not least, I want to share another a reason why fear of failure is related to trauma. And I'm talking specifically about inherited trauma. This is an amazing book that I totally recommend, and I'm going to put the link in the comments so that you can see it. It didn't start with you, it says. And it's talking about inherited family trauma. What does it mean? Maybe we haven't faced any failure in our life, or maybe we haven't been traumatized or wounded by failure in our life. However, other people before us may have been there. People coming from our family, from our close environment, maybe parents or even grandparents have tried something daring, something very courageous, but it didn't work. Um, this is what we call the legacy of unfinished business. They were scared to finish something, or they didn't manage to finish something that they started and completed with success. And hence, they felt really sad, disappointed. And in you now, you are carrying this DNA of grief or of failure or fears inside you because it has been inherited to you from through all these generations. Or maybe there was a parent that was afraid of dating, or they were afraid of making money because money spoils you, or because money doesn't bring happiness. For whatever reason, maybe somebody was, um, let's say, against successful or against daring for success. And just because you love this person and this person was important to you, you took their side, even though you know that there's another truth out there, you took their side. So many times we continue a pattern of fear of failure because we're sharing something with the person that holds these beliefs or has been through a painful experience. Just because somebody failed, you don't want to be the successful one and maybe rub it in their face or maybe make them feel even more disappointed and sad about themselves. We think that we're sharing the misery together with this person. We're sharing their pain with this person. We're helping them, we're supporting them if we also stay there and join them in this decision or in their pain. So this is what happens. This is the connection between trauma and failure. And I would love to hear your stories. I would love to hear your perspective on that. And what do you think about that? And maybe your questions about this. So sometimes failure is not about the present, it's about the past. And sometimes when we figure out what is the connection, we actually unchain ourselves from these old beliefs or these old pain or these fears that belong to the past. Thank you very much for being here. You can always register at the Academy and follow the course, how to stop being afraid of failure and feel comfortable with daring. This is what we try to do. We don't try to stop feeling scared. We try to embrace, hold hand in hand with our fears, and actually take the step towards our purpose, our direction, or whatever gives us more meaning in life and makes us more happy. Looking forward to see you there and see you next week. Have a nice day.